Roy Topping is passing through the Far East on an 11,000-mile journey in order to ride a rather ordinary 800cc Suzuki motorcycle. I am Norman Burrows, and I have left behind my own pride and joy to ride the same run-of-the-mill rice burner. But these bikes are in New Zealand, which is becoming known to many riders as the last motorcycling paradise on Earth. The 12-day tour starts here at Eric Wood Motorcycles in Christchurch. We will visit Milford, one of the wettest places on Earth, Invercargill and Bluff, the last stop before Antarctica, the remote Catlins area, then over the Haas Pass before heading north to Greymouth, Picton and the ferry across the Cook Strait. From windy Wellington to Napier, northeast to geothermal Rotorua, doubling back through Taupo, Mangaweka, Palmerston, returning to Wellington and the inter-islander car ferry. Traverse the Southern Alps again twice, arriving back in Christchurch with nearly 5,000 kilometres more on the clock. In real money, that's an average of less than 300 miles per day. On his own BMW, Roy reckoned he'd have done about another 100 miles a day. A few hours from Christchurch is Lake Tekapo, with its opal-coloured glacial waters. To European eyes, curiously deserted, even in the midst of the holiday season. As is nearby Lake Pukaki, fed by meltwater from Mount Cook and the Tasman Glacier. Can't see much of Mount Cook today, can we?
No, it's just the dim outline of it, Norman.
Well, if you want to see more of Mount Cook, Roy, try the world-famous Hermitage Hotel. It's about as close as you can get by road. In these parts, the indigenous key parrots will dive bomb bikers and even eat their soft luggage, but they do no damage to the environment. Unlike some cuddly creatures introduced by us Poms, who sometimes are not as clever as we seem. That's Mount Sefton.
That's Mount Cook.
Mount Cook through the gap.
Mount Wakefield.
Mount Wakefield. And the other one?
Right down the ridge.
Yeah.
And the big peak is called Rotten Tommy.
Rotten Tommy, right. How do you know all this?
It's on the brass ring there.
And there I was, thinking you were intelligent.
And it was written in English.
Hecky pecky.
They're good, these foreigners, you know.
I know, we're catching on. Through the Lindis Pass, the scenery changes from alpine to a curious semi-desert. The road is just pure exhilaration, all the way to Queenstown. Unbeatable. Or is it? Car drivers following us over the Lindis might find the jet boat exciting. All my adrenaline was expended back down that road. An hour or so later, see us at T&O, our bed for night 2. Come inside and see what £25 a night can buy you in New Zealand. Everything a couple of touring motorcycling lads could want. Separate beds, a decent bath to soak in, wash our socks, plus bags of space, all spotlessly clean. This superb weather is a real surprise. The brochures tell us of over 320 days of rain a year in this part of the South Island. Will we see Milford Sound under clear skies? Today, day 3. We ride to Milford before retracking southward, finishing at Invercargill and Bluff. We head through the Catlins to the Pacific coast, then swing inland again to Cromwell on day 4. This is the Homer Tunnel, hewn out of the mountain by pick and shovel during the recession of the 1930s. It is still the only way road vehicles can reach Milford Sound. After 1.2 kilometres and a falling gradient of 1 in 10, the road opens out into the blind glacial valley leading to the Sound. And yes, I am riding slowly, aren't I? That's because it's at least half a day to the nearest hospital. And anyhow, look at these fabulous views. The 5,500-foot Mitre Peak is rarely seen under such clear skies. Fabulous. And what about that road?
It was 10/10 all the way. Well, 10/10. Couldn't be beaten anyway.
And one of the wettest places on earth, supposedly. And look at it, it's dry.
Well, the leprechauns have forgiven us at last.
Surprisingly perhaps, in a country which has 30 million sheep, this turned out to be the only time they caused us any delay. And then, within a few minutes they were gone. English shepherds, please note. Tuatha Perry lies in Southland, a few miles from the south coast. The Art Deco bank contrasts strangely with the otherwise Wild West appearance. It's all the excuse we need to stop for a cup of tea. This place is to New Zealand what Land's End is to the UK. The waters washing gently onto these rocks stretch all the way to Antarctica. OK, with the exception of Dog Island. So this is as far south as we can go. Route 92 through the Catlins, our first gravel road. But only for 70 kilometres though. Mooraki on the Pacific East Coast is famous for its giant boulders. But I have brought us to the village. The boulders are on the other side of the bay. Are we going across to see those boulders?
You want to?
Yeah, while we're here. Translated from the topping, that means no to boulders. Thus, 3 hours inland from Mooraki, we arrive at Cromwell, ready for a pint or two, or 3. And the Victoria Hotel turned out to be just the place. Even the landlord bought a round. Day 5, the Harst Pass. This road has to be one of the best rides in the world. Most of the next 250 kilometres is good tarmac, or seal as the Kiwi lads call it, with only a short stretch of gravel near the summit. Fast bends through subtropical bush, brilliant. Roy disagrees though. He still stands by the road to Milford. The ozone layer is thin in this part of the world, and riding without a full face helmet requires the rubbing in of copious amounts of chip fat, bought all the way from Preston. Tonight's bed is at Greymouth, a good 6 hours in the saddle from here. Tomorrow it's up to Picton, the ferry, and a butcher's at the North Island. So we'd better get to it. But you can't rush coming down off the Harst Pass along the Harst River Gorge, can you? And then there's the odd glacier worth having a look at.
Too good thing.
Here we are, girls. Missing you dreadfully. Wish you were here, don't we? Of course we do. Of course we do, yeah. Fox Glacier.
I've got a light cream on them.
No mints.
No mints.
See up here?
We're not going to go on the aeroplane trip to the top because we don't want to make you utterly pig sick.
Greymouth, a gold mining township that is now seeing quieter times. A pleasant enough place to reflect that, unbelievably, in the last 500 kilometres, we've encountered less than 50 cars on the open road.
Have you been filming railway engines again?
I have. Have you been getting suntan lotion? Oh, what?
Free moisturiser.
When are you going to get a full face helmet, you old fart?
When I get her face work covering up.
Day 6 brings clear blue skies for the ride north towards Murchison, Nelson and the ferry at Picton.
There must have been at least a dozen cars, you know, in the last 60 mile.
I know. It's terrible.
Yeah, I believe the North Island's worse than this, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, it gets up to about 10.
Yeah.
Queen Charlotte Drive twists and turns its way around the northern coastline, a real scratcher's road. We've stopped here at Pelorus Sound because, yes, you've guessed it, Roy's at that chip fat again. Picton. After 6 days on the road, there's an opportunity to wash our undies and prepare ourselves for the dreaded car ferry. The Inter-Islander is the only service across the notorious Cook Strait, which fortunately is flat calm today. A dirty ship with a rude crew and outrageous prices. Just like home, really. Now, heading north in the southern hemisphere leads one to expect better weather rather than worse, but we're in for a big surprise.
First impressions of the North Island then, Roy?
Well, with this cloud, you can't see out normally, can you?
A lot more traffic, isn't there?
Oh, aye. It's more aggressive too.
It is that. And in particular like Wellington at all.
Well, we didn't see much of the city, but I don't like cities anyway. I've seen enough of them.
We rode 600 kilometres in torrential rain to reach Rotorua, and it was still pouring the next day during our sightseeing tour of Hell's Gate.
Looks like Solwick fitters have been busy here. A lot of loose steam joints knocking about.
In 1934, George Bernard Shaw visited this place and said, "I think it is the most damnable place that I have ever visited, and I'd have willingly paid £10 not to have seen it." Well, Roy and I have come to the North Island solely to see the geothermal area, so we're saying we enjoyed it. The trek southwards on day 9 was to be in more clement conditions. The main trunk to Wellington runs past Lake Taupo and then through the Tongariro National Park, with volcanoes at 2 a penny. Behind these clouds are 4 volcanoes. Can you pick them out?
There's not many places on Earth where you can be in such an unstable region to be surrounded by 4 volcanoes, is there?
Well, not that we've seen anyway. I don't want
Hey.
them to get any more active than this, Norman.
What's that noise?
That tremor turned out to be nothing more than my guts rumbling. And what better place to have lunch than aboard this Douglas DC-3 at Mangaweka? That put us on just nicely to reach the motel at Palmerston. Let's take time now to look at these VX800s. The 800cc V-twin used fuel at around 55 miles per gallon from the 19-litre tank, easily outlasting the joint efforts of my backside and this awful seat. This profoundly limits maximum daily mileage. The soft luggage with plastic bin liners inside proves adequate and does not spoil the mediocre handling. The shaft drive VX uses no oil whatsoever and has sufficient grunt for an unfared bike on Kiwi roads. We lose another riding day on that damn ferry, heading south on day 11 to a cool and drizzly Kaikoura. People come here from all over the world to sight whales, but not us. Roy has come to sample the giant crayfish, served fresh at the roadside in these here parts.
Look at that.
Good, is it?
Magic.
Here on the east coast, it's an uninspiring 14 degrees Celsius. 2 hours ride westward, over the Lewis Pass to Reefton, and it's in the 30s. Amazing. Reefton's claim to fame is that it was the first place in the southern hemisphere to have electricity. At a hotel which stood on this site, in fact. We stayed across the road at a place run by an expat woman from Liverpool. A place to ponder the last day in the saddle. The grand finale. A final ride over the Southern Alps by way of the legendary Arthur's Pass. A pioneering route built to transport gold to Christchurch. Nowadays renowned throughout the world as a stunning scenic route, whether travelling by rail or by road. The pass itself is reached from the eastward direction via the Otira Gorge. This is to be the last stop before Christchurch. In just 110 miles, the motorcycling experience of a lifetime will sadly be at an end.
Well, that's the end of that, Roy.
Yes, just a feeling of sadness because it's been one of the highlights of my riding life, as this.
Fabulous one.
It really has.